Hello everyone, my name is Don and welcome to my video series on Sigmund Freud's The Interpretation of Dreams. Now, I love Sigmund Freud. I think Sigmund Freud was a genius. I think he changed world history for the better. And more than just that, I think he was an engaging, interesting writer, and I think it is fun to read his books, especially this one. I realize that Sigmund Freud is less popular in some circles. Some people point out that at times in his life, Sigmund Freud overused cocaine. And that is true. And some people point out that Sigmund Freud developed some really strange theories about sex. And that too is true. And yet at the end of the day, I don't think any of that really matters. Freud, along with being a genius, was wise. He was a sensible clinician. He really understood the human psyche and how the human psyche works. And I believe that if we read and understand Freud today, we in turn can benefit. We can understand ourselves better and in turn live freer, happier lives. So let's dive into the interpretation of dreams. Freud's first major claim in the book is that dreams have meaning. Dreams are not nonsense. Dreams can be interpreted. He acknowledges that there are different schools of dream interpretation. The first main school we can refer to as the symbolic school. And this is the type of dream interpretation we can find in the Hebrew scriptures. So think back to Sunday school. Think back to the story of the Pharaoh and Joseph. So the Pharaoh has a dream. He's confused by the dream. In the dream, there are 7 fat cows, and then the 7 fat cows turn into 7 skinny cows. And for whatever reason, Pharaoh goes to Joseph and he says, "Can you interpret my dream?" And Joseph says, "You've come to the right guy. I'm going to tell you exactly what your dream means." And what the dream means is that Egypt is going to enjoy 7 years of plenty, which will be followed by 7 years of famine. Pharaoh listens to Joseph, plans accordingly, and Egypt benefits. Freud rejects this school of interpretation simply because it doesn't have a method. You can't teach someone how to interpret dreams in this manner. This type of interpretation relies on divine intervention or intuition or hitting on a clever idea. Another school of dream interpretation can be referred to as the decoding school. And according to this school, dream elements have universal meanings. Meaning if I dream about something, it's going to mean the same thing for me as it will for anybody else in the world. So I can dream about, a flamingo. And if somebody in a third world country dreams about a flamingo, according to this school, the dream is going to mean the same thing. Freud also rejects this type of interpretation. He points out that you can consult different dream books and they will contradict themselves. One dream book will say a flamingo means one thing and another will say a flamingo means something else. More than just that, I think this this school is counterintuitive. We are all individuals. We all have different DNA. We all have different histories. We all grow up in different cultures. And so I think it just seems to follow that what certain items mean for one person will not be the same for someone else. Freud's method respects the individuality of the dreamer. So when a patient would tell Freud a dream, Freud would first want to understand the context in which the dream occurred. He would want to understand what was happening in that individual's life, especially what was happening the day in which they had the dream. Freud would then break the dream down into smaller parts, and for each part, he would ask the patient what came to mind when they thought of that part of the dream. So, for example, if a patient had a dream in which a raccoon appeared, Freud would ask, "When you think of raccoons, what comes to mind?" And the patient would say what came to mind, what association came to mind, and then maybe that association would be linked to other associations, and Freud would encourage the patient to keep unpacking these associations. And Freud would do this for each item, each element found in the dream. At the end of chapter 2, Freud shares one of his own dreams. This is a fascinating dream, which is referred to now as Irma's injection. Freud shares the dream, and then he walks us through step by step how he interpreted the dream. Please go to my second video and you can watch all about Irma's injection. All right, everybody, that's all I have for this video. I will see you next time. Shalom.